Welcome to the first ever online Campus Life Club for Tuscaloosa Campus Life. If you are a high school or middle school student who has been part of Campus Life Club, you know that this is a little different format from what we normally do. Usually Campus Life Club is a big event with a lot of people together in one space, but with the current circumstances surrounding coronavirus and quarantine orders, things are looking a little bit different for a while. That's right, Campus Life is going viral. In the good way, guys, in the good way. So, if you're not already, make sure to follow at T-Town Campus Life on Instagram and make sure to like and follow us on this channel to get the updates and be a part of what we're doing while we're locked down. So, without further ado, let's have some fun. The 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo have officially been postponed for a year. This marks the first time in history that the Olympics have ever been canceled for a reason other than a world war. That really puts into perspective those grocery store fights over Clorox and toilet paper. The true front lines. That's right, the Olympics have been postponed for at least a year, but if you're still wanting to get into the Olympic spirit, we've come up with some new Olympic games that you can play in the quarantine. Started off, we've got the 400-meter race to the hospital. That's a heated one. How about the toilet paper tug of war? If track and field aren't your speed, there's freestyle swimming and hand sanitizer. And finally, there's the 2-meter dash to get away from each other. And for all of it, instead of gold medals, they'll be giving out face masks and disinfecting wipes. What's that? This just in, the International Olympic Committee has now voted to replace the Olympic Games with the Hunger Games. Well, we're all very excited about that around here. May the odds be ever in your favor. In other COVID-19 news, celebrities have taken to the World Wide Webs in hope of showing Americans that no one is above or better than this pandemic. Celebrities like Madonna and Cardi B got together across social media platforms to collaborate on a cover of John Lennon's song, Imagine. That's right. Meanwhile, the rest of us were trying to imagine the bliss of a whole month without having to put up with ridiculous celebrities. In other news, since most of the US's cosmetic and beauty products come from China, Americans who use makeup daily could soon be in for a rough time as shortages hit the store shelves. What does that mean for the rest of us? Well, it means that soon that girl you're crushing on, you're probably going to have to get to know her personality. Another unfortunate reality in the midst of makeup shortages is that everyone is going to have to see your mom the way your family sees your mom. Thankful for that quarantine order now, huh? And for you middle school girls out there, well, the makeup shortage just means you're going to have to listen to your dad and not leave the house like that after all. In other news related to the beauty supply shortage, Instagram models and influencers have already begun to file for unemployment as they are no longer willing to show their faces in close-up. Some estimate that as much as $56.27 in combined salaries have already been lost. We'll be watching that development closely. Many occupations have been forced to let employees go and close their doors for the time being. We here at Campus Life have been able to make exclusive contact with one celebrity who has been especially hard hit by this crisis. Let's take a look.
Push towards the horizon line. That's pushing back, trying to break my spine. And if I grab that sun and I drink its fire, I climb broken ladders just to take me higher. I want this, I don't want the blood inside my nose. It's my sickness to keep on distance.
I mean, of course, it's affecting sales and marketing. People can't even go to Books A Million to buy anything of mine. Our internet revenue, which I thought might be the only thing that sustains us, it's gone. Uh, these times are hard. We're pulling out all stops, trying to figure out new ways to innovate and be creative. But when there's no crowds, there's nowhere for Waldo to hide.
I want this, I don't want this. It's my sickness to keep our distance. My legs push towards the horizon line. That's pushing back, trying to break my spine. And if I grab that sun and I drink its fire, I climb broken ladders just to take me higher. I want this, I don't want the blood inside my
So, unless you've been in hiding for the past month, then you're well aware that the world is in a pandemic. Coronavirus, also known as COVID 19. I'm not telling you anything new that you don't already know, but just look at this for a second. 170 countries worldwide are affected by this virus. Over 553,000 people worldwide are either infected now or have been at some point. I think for us, this is a reminder that the world isn't perfect. Some may even call it broken. For one, I do. I call it broken. Now, forget about the coronavirus for just a second. It's all you see on the news. I started out my little talk here just talking about COVID-19. Forget it for a minute. Let's look at the world. Let's imagine coronavirus didn't exist. We've still got problems. Think about this for a second. How many of us are affected by anxiety? I bet it's hyper affected right now. What about depression? What about just standard emotional fatigue? Some people may refer to it as sadness. We're all dealing with that. What about fear of the future? We're dealing with that right now. I mean, every small business in Tuscaloosa is closed Monday. You think people aren't scared for the future days? And then we've dealt with physical illness since the beginning of time. So it's easy to say that we are living in a broken world. Now, think about this a minute. We went worldwide there. Let's look at just our country. We've got politics, we've got racial division, we've got religious division, we've got all kind of heated sub arguments going on all over our culture. And that's just our country, but we live in that country. So let's take some responsibility. Think about this for a minute with me. We've talked about the world, we've talked about our country. Let's look at ourselves. I mean, we've got nothing but time, right? We're sitting around. So self-evaluation. Think about this for a moment. What kind of bad habits do we have? What about how many of us get angry easily? How many of you are super mad at your dad right now because of something he told you an hour ago? My friends, that's called rebellion. What about sadness? What about just pure lack of motivation? You think because this semester is shut down, there's no need to do anything, right? And that's us. Now, like most in the world right now, I would say that I'm grieving. And you may think, well, man, Jeremy, you're grieving. What happened? Well, I think if we look at the correct definition of grief, that we can see we're all kind of doing it right now. Grief, according to the dictionary, listen to this: a feeling of deep distress caused by loss, disappointment, or other misfortune caused by oneself or others. Sounds like grief. Sounds like what I'm going through right now. Now, according to American psychology, yes, you're out of school, but I'm going to teach you a little. According to American psychology, there are 5 stages that take place in this process of grieving. Number 1 is denial. Now, how many of us have woken up in the past 3 weeks and thought, man, COVID-19, not going to happen to me, right? Or maybe you woke up and said, God, I can't believe this is happening. That's denial. So maybe you're camping out there. Maybe I think I've moved past that stage. Number 2, anger. We just get angry about what's going on around us. I get angry about what's going on around me. The convenience store that carries my favorite flavor of Monster is closed. Oh no, like how am I gonna live? Much more serious than that. What about bargaining? See, that's the 3rd phase of grief. And I think if we have a belief system, I know for me personally, there have been times where I said, God, if you'll do this, then I'll do this. So I've tried to bargain. 4th stage of grief, according to American psychology, is depression. Now, I'm not talking about clinical depression where you need, to be put into a mental ward or take medication or daily counseling. No, nothing like that. Depression in this sense is just a deep, overarching sadness. I think in some way, all of us can relate to that, especially now. And then lastly, the last stage of grief is acceptance. Now, acceptance isn't so much saying, hey, it's okay that 7,000 people in America have died because of COVID-19. No, it's not that. Acceptance is more, yes, I know 7,000 people have died, but I'm still okay. Now, it's okay to think like that. Don't feel guilty or ashamed because you're happy to be alive and uninfected. It sucks, but I'm going to be okay, right? That should be our attitude. That's what acceptance looks like. Now, in the past 3 or 4 weeks here at Campus Life, we've had to learn new ways to do things. Now, we're not canceling anything. We're replacing things. And in that spirit, I want you to think about this for a minute. The 5th stage of grief, acceptance. I want to replace that with a different kind of acceptance. Now, we go all the way back in history and we look at Jesus, and Jesus said this to us, and me personally, this is what it means. He said in John 16:33 that in this world, you're going to have times of trouble. And listen to this, blows my mind. Jesus said, but be joyful, be happy, be of good cheer, because I've overcome the world. Now, that's hope. Can't we use a mega dose of hope today? Now, Christ, who was written about by all kind of authors, one of which said this: his hope is a strong and trustworthy anchor for the soul. Think about this for a minute. In this broken world, in this broken country, in this broken body, I'm trying to live in a way that is encouraging to others while I keep my heart and my mind in a positive direction. Isn't it encouraging to know that we have hope like an anchor for the soul? So while all the rest of the world is crumbling, when things around us are burning to the ground, when folks that I know personally are sick and some even dying, I've got hope because I've got an anchor that keeps me steady, keeps me in place. So acceptance to me is more not I'm going to be okay. Acceptance is Christ can make me okay. Can't we all use that hope today?
We hope you enjoyed this and that it gave you a reason to laugh and to think. Just wanted to leave you guys with a quick question to consider as you go into your week, and that's this: how can I take these thoughts of grief or anger or anxiety and replace them with hope in this season? So we hope to see you next week, and that you stay safe out there in the midst of this crisis. We'll see you next time.